Ambassador Chizhov, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Let me ask you frankly, what do you believe, as the Russian ambassador to the EU, that is President Putin's game plan right now? How is he going to try, or is he going to try to get out of this bind that Russia seems to be in?
First of all, I do not share your view of the situation that my country is in. I think we're pretty much okay on the international scene. And our efforts aimed at promoting a political solution to the Ukraine crisis, if that's what you mean, had they been supported by the United States and other Western countries, we would have succeeded much earlier.
You say you think you're pretty much okay in the international community, but as you know, there has been a huge amount of criticism of Russia for its handling of this. Let me just play for you what the Dutch foreign minister said about the chaos at the crash site over the last several days.
To my dying day, I will not understand that it took so much time for the rescue workers to be allowed to do their difficult jobs, and that human remains should be used in a political game. If somebody here around the table talks about a political game, this is the political game that has been played with human remains, and it is despicable.
This is criticism not just of those separatists, but of you, of Russia, too.
Well, I don't think so. Let me say I fully share the sentiment of the Dutch foreign minister, who says that it's despicable to try to capitalize on a tragic event like this for political gains. I fully share that view. And I also believe it is despicable to try to preempt the outcome of the investigation and start the blame game. Those people who are doing that may actually feel very embarrassed when the investigation might produce a totally different result.
Well, what do you think happened then?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't seen the evidence. Actually, the so-called black boxes, as you know, are now in possession of the Malaysian authorities, who will be cooperating with the Dutch and, of course, ICAO and the United Nations. So we'll certainly find out soon. Actually, before that happens even, there might be some clues, for example, in the air traffic control tapes, which have been seized by the Ukrainian security service and held without any comment.
You say you don't know what happened. The Russian defense minister yesterday had a press appearance where he seemed to indicate or blame or cast some kind of doubt or culpability on Ukraine, saying that a Ukrainian military flight was in that area around the time of the crash. Is that what you really believe?
Well, the Russian Defense Ministry did not blame actually anybody, but it produced hard evidence showing that some questions need to be answered by the Ukrainian authorities, which they have failed to do so far, concentrating rather on producing fake evidence. In the meantime, the United States government has said that it has mounting evidence pointing to what to those whom they call rebels or separatists, but have yet to produce any tangible piece of evidence. So, in the lack of any other evidence which would point to the contrary, I think the strongest evidence so far is the one produced by the Russian Minister of Defense.
The EU has agreed on extra measures and wider sanctions today in their meeting in Brussels on Russia. And I would like to not only get your reaction to that, but first I want you to listen to the Maltese Prime Minister, who said this to CNN about the whole idea of the West's and the international community's response to Russia over the past several months.
I, for one, have always been an advocate of saying, look, guys, let's take it slow and let's see what's really happening. Let's hear both sides. Let's see what's at stake. But after what happened, I think there is no option but to step up.
So, Ambassador Chizhov, you say you're okay on the international community, but that was a prime minister who was inclined to give Russia the benefit of the doubt, like many others, until Thursday when that plane was down. They all say this is a game changer, and now they are putting more sanctions on. What is your reaction to that, and won't that come at a cost to Russia?
Well, I agree it's a game changer. I think it's a wake-up call, and I agree with the U.S. administration on that. Should serve as a wake-up call for everybody to stop instigating violence, stop supporting the Ukrainian government in its military campaign against civilians. The immediate thing to do now is to establish a permanent ceasefire and proceed to a political dialogue leading to a political solution of the Ukrainian crisis. Otherwise, this can continue with additional civilian deaths.
Propaganda aside, blame and counter-blame aside, is this, do you believe, the time for President Putin to actually deliver on what he said again today, and that is to use his influence to end this and call a ceasefire? And as you perfectly well know, Ambassador, President Poroshenko has delivered a peace plan, an offer of talks with President Putin and the separatists, and they have been categorically rejected.
Well, I think it's a time of decision for everybody, including those Western countries that have been supporting Ukraine. Unfortunately, President Poroshenko, putting forward his peace plan, did not even prolong the temporary ceasefire and restarted
Ambassador,
hostilities.
he did. I'm sorry,
So,
Ambassador. I'm sorry.
Let me finish. If we talk about influence, I think influence on the Kiev government side from the West should really increase. As far as Russia's influence on the people in eastern Ukraine, you can easily see that from public statements made by President Putin over the last few days.
Does President Putin believe the spin and the propaganda that is being peddled in Russia by, I'm very sorry to say, your state news organizations and all the conspiracy theories that have been put out there? Is it boxing him into a corner, and how difficult will it be for him to actually take a different track now and try to play the peacemaker?
Well, you said yourself we should not get involved in the blame game, and you immediately blame the Russian media.
No, I can give you chapter and verse about the propaganda.
Well, what we witness can be referred to certainly as an information war, which has its own rules and laws. But seriously speaking, I can assure you that it is in the national interests of Russia to see this conflict end as soon as possible. It has never been Russia's intention to launch this conflict. It was not started by Russia, and we never thought it would serve any interest to prolong it or exacerbate it.
Ambassador Chizhov, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.